Well, as you guys know, meat prices are getting absolutely ridiculous. And they keep getting worse. Cheap cuts of meat. This is $7 a pound, or cheaper cuts of meat instead of the $10+ a pound now. This is a beef eye of round. This is choice. It was $37 at Costco. And this is 5.3 pounds of eye of round. We're going to cook this today. And we're going to make it just like it would be like a high-end, high-quality, yada, 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 a desirable meat. But before we do that, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and I took this out of the refrigerator so it can sit here on the stove for the next couple hours and come down closer to room temperature. It's going to be a while. So it's 3 o'clock now. Probably about 5 o'clock is when I'll start preparing this to smoke. Alright, here we have it. It's been sitting on the stove for a few hours. It's close to room temperature. And we are going to just very basic. I'm not cutting any of the fat off. I'm leaving that alone. Some people cut the fat off. I'm leaving it on there. I want it to stay on there. I'm going to use some yellow mustard and some Cusos, activated charcoal, rosemary, thyme, and minced garlic. I'll have a link for that down below. This here is just, like I said, going to be very simple. Just take you some mustard, squirt a couple lines across it, rub it down, flip it over, squirt a couple lines, rub it down. Just real lightly go over with your seasoning. Doesn't have to be real heavy. I'll be right back when that's done. So what I'm going to start doing is, now it's covered in mustard, I got my fat side down. I'm going to start with my non-fat side. Go ahead and season that, so when I flip it over, I got my fat cap up. And that's how I'm going to put it actually in the smoker, so I'm not flipping it back and forth and pulling seasoning off of it by rubbing it around on the pan and stuff like that. I want my fat cap to stay up because that fat cap is going to render down, and that fat's going to ooze over the side of it, and it's going to keep it moist. Alright, here we go. Just a real light dusting, nothing too heavy. Make sure you end up with your fat cap up. And now I'm going to go out there and clean up the smoker and stuff like that, and make sure I got a new piece of aluminum foil down on my drip tray. Get it all set up and set at 180 degrees and get it heating up. Alright, got the smoker cleaned up for the most part, and I've got it on smoke mode right now as it heats up. So I want to let it smoke and heat up real quick, and then we're going to put it up at 180, and then we're going to throw the eye of round in here. Now that I've got some smoke starting to roll out of this stack here, I don't know if you can see it or not. It's hard to pick it up on camera. I'm going to go ahead and put these in here and let them get a little taste of what that smoke is. That wetness will attract it early on. Had it in there for a couple minutes now while it's smoking. Give you an idea on what that smoke looks like. There you go. Oh, that eye around rolled over. I'm gonna have to make it flat again. And the wood that I'm using is it's just Costco's competition or blend smoker pellet bag. It's like a 30-pound bag for like 14 bucks. It works great. I don't need anything fancy. I will use other wood sometimes, some higher end stuff like a Traeger competition blend, or like a specialty wood that's made by a specialty company that's not a brand that you would typically hear. But normally I just stick to the competition blend from Costco, and it does just fine. Now that it's been on here smoking for a little bit, I would probably say it's been on here for about 15 minutes in smoke mode. I'm going to go ahead and turn this up to 180, which is going to put it right at about what smoke mode is anyway. So I'll set it at 180, and then I'll just monitor it over the next couple hours. I'm trying to achieve an internal temp on the eye of round right at about 130, 135. Some people say that's like a medium with a cut like eye of round, medium rare. I like my meat more on the rare side, so I'm trying to get like the roast beef consistency. So I'll try to pull it. I'll probably start looking at it and getting a feel for if it's done right at about 125, 130, and I won't let it go past 135. If I'm trying to get a cheaper style cut of roast beef. Now, if I wanted it to be like a brisket or something like that, I'd continue to cook this until about 165, 170, and then I'd wrap it in some peach paper, and then maybe like make a aluminum foil bowl around it, just to come up around the sides and make like a aluminum foil folded bowl. It seems to be pretty popular. And then I'd finish cooking it. I'd probably get it up to about 165, 170, and then I'd wrap it, and then I'd finish cooking it till about 195, 200, and then I'd pull it out at that point after it was wrapped. So 165, 170, wrap it, and then continue cooking it to 195, 200, and by the time it settles and stuff, it'll get up to about 202, 203, and then it'll start to come back down as you let it rest on the stove or the countertop for a couple hours, and then you'll be ready to slice into it. I want more of a roast beef consistency, not a roast consistency. So I want to slice it, like put it on sandwiches or tortillas or something like that. Have it with some, I like a light bit of au jus or something I can dip it in and eat with some broccoli and cauliflower or whatever. So I don't want it to end up like a roast. I want it to end up like sliced roast beef, if that makes sense. So let's try to achieve that. This is my first time cooking this. Okay, I took it out and one of them was at 131 and the other one was at 136. Let's cut into them. They've been resting for about an hour and a half. Oh yeah. Very nice. And there we are. Getting cut like absolute butter. I didn't do any fancy stuff like some of these other guys I've seen online doing. This is just kind of my own way of doing it, and that's how I ran with it, and it tastes great. Absolutely phenomenal. This is the one at like 130, 131 when I pulled it out and then let it sit in the bag. And this is the one that was at 135. I haven't checked. I haven't cut into it yet. So this temperature would have went from like 131 up to like 135, 136, 137 sitting in the bag. And the other one would have went up to about 141, 142 sitting in the bag. And then it slowly came back down. But look at that. Nice smoke ring. Beautiful. What are you doing? And this is the other one that was about 5 degrees warmer. You can see there's a little bit less pink, but it's still rare. So I'd say this is probably more on the medium rare, because you can see a little bit more white in the middle, but more rare. And the other one's actually rare. The other one was 131 when I pulled it out. This one was 130, I don't know, it was like 136, 137. It was like 5 or 6 degrees hotter. And normally it'll go up about 5 to 10 degrees when it's in the bag, and then it'll cool back down. So this turned out absolutely perfect.
No, you're too close.
Well, meat's out of control and super expensive now. I seen chuck roast the other day for $8.99 a pound. It was on sale at $6.99 a pound, and it said save $1.72 for one chuck roast. It was $32, and I was, you got to be out of your mother loving mind. So I'd rather get this eye around and eat something closer to roast beef than the chuck roast. And you seen this was over 5 pounds, and it was only $30 at Costco. So how to make cheap meat taste expensive. Eye of round. That's my way of doing it. Hope you all like it. Be blessed. I will have a link for this brisket cutting knife down below. I use it for a lot of my bigger meats when I'm slicing. It is absolutely phenomenal, and I think I paid like literally I don't know if it's like 60, 70 bucks. I think about 60 bucks for this knife is what it was. But who knows? It could be up a little more or down, but I highly recommend this. It's the Cutlux, a cut above the ordinary. It's the Artesian series. These are extremely nice knives and very, very low cost for what you're getting. It's an absolute dynamite slicing brisket knife, whatever, roast knife. This is awesome.